1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. Love. Brice's Beats Music Info YouTube channel today. Today we'll be talking about Def Leppard, the great band that defined the 80s metal scene today. Today we'll be talking about Def Leppard on Brice's Beats today. They were formed in Shuttonfield, England in 1976. Their biggest hit albums are Pyromania, Hysteria that topped the Billboard Top 100. Their biggest hits are Photograph, Rock of Ages, Rock Teardrop, Fooling Too Late for Love, Animal, Woman, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Love Bites, Rocket, Hysteria, and Armageddon. Def Leppard was ranked 100 greatest artists of hard rock. They defined the biggest band of the 80s and of the 80s hair metal and glam metal movement in the 80s. Hysteria is considered one of the best-selling albums of all time. Def Leppard's drummer was in a car accident before recording Hysteria. On December of 1984, Def Leppard's drummer was in a serious car crash. He had to get a left arm amputated, but continued to tour with the band, and that was the most commercially phased of the band's music career. And the drummer was most commonly known as the Thunder God by Def Leppard fans. He is ranked as one of the greatest drummers of all time. Def Leppard was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019. Def Leppard is one of the greatest 80s rock bands ever. And to clarify that in more detail is, Def Leppard is one of the greatest and the best 80s rock bands of all time, in my opinion, because they're just so really, really good and so driven hard rock. They really kind of redefined what hard rock music was, which was really good. They kind of added some glam metal into their style when they did Hysteria. Hysteria is a great rock album, look it up after this music info YouTube channel video of Brice's Beats. Look it up. It's a great album. Every song on it's so good. Great music, great lyrics, and just great. And the guitar player of Def Leppard was so good. so good. And really, it is just phenomenal. Def Leppard has had a tremendous great career in the 80s. In the 90s, they did pretty good, but not as good as they did in the 80s. Because 80s, they had Power Mania and Hysteria. But in the 90s, they had some big hits. But 90s is when the 80s hair metal and glam metal movement was kind of disappearing. And those bands were not as successful as they were in the 80s. When they got in the 90s, they weren't really successful. Because that was when grunge music was taking over and more alternative music was taking over the mainstream music charts in that day and time. And really, Def Leppard, it's just the lead frontman that has a great vocal range and has a great rock and roll voice. He is just so good. And the guitar player so good. The drummer, like I said, he got a bad car wreck and was amputated his right or left arm and from amputation, but he still toured with them in Hysteria, and that was like the biggest commercial year for them when they did Hysteria. And I admit that he's probably one of my favorite drummers of 80s rock music is Def Leppard's drummer. He is so good. And he learned how to do drumming when he got amputated, just doing that with his right hand. It was so credible how they did that. It was really amazing and really phenomenal at the same time. And really, Def Leppard is outstanding. And Def Leppard is just one of my favorite 80s rock bands. One of my also favorite 80s hair metal bands from that 80s hair metal music movement from the 80s too. And I just like Def Leppard. They're really good. I didn't know how good they were until a few years ago when I listened to Hysteria and Power Mania, and they were just rock and roll, driven hard rock with great guitar licks, great vocals, and just great big sound, big rock sound, and great rock sound, and just great music production and sound. And like I said, in these past Brice's Beats music info YouTube videos, that you could probably take each of their songs off their great classic albums and break them down and do a music theory with them, because they have done so many great 80s rock songs. You could just break them down and do the guitar, the vocals, the music production, the sound of them, and just probably do a whole lesson on them about music theory in general. And it's just amazing. Def Leppard, I was so looking forward to this Def Leppard video. It's been so fun to talk to him. When I did the intro, I was like, I'm going to sing and play some melody from some Def Leppard songs. The first one I had to do was Pour Some Sugar on Me. Is a classic Def Leppard song in my opinion. And really, it's just phenomenal in many, many ways. Def Leppard is one of my top is right up there with my top great 80s rock bands of that era of rock music in my opinion. And really, Def Leppard is just phenomenal. And they're still touring today with the same members, but I think the only member that's not in Def Leppard is the original lead guitar player. I can't remember his name, but he was a great guitar player, but I think he died just back in the 90s or 2000s, so they have replaced the lead guitar player with someone new. But besides that, they still have the original members in that whole band, except for the lead guitar player now. But Def Leppard is just phenomenal. And thanks for tuning in for talking about... Thanks for tuning in to Brice's Beats, Def Leppard, the band that defined 80s hair metal in the 80s, music info YouTube video today. I've enjoyed it so much. So I was going to say that I was going to take a break, because after today, after working yesterday, I'm officially kind of on my summer vacation, because I won't be back to work until the middle of the first week in June, because we're going to be going to the Smoky Mountain. Start after church tomorrow. We're going to head out to the Smoky Mountains. We'll be there for a whole week, and then the beginning of the first week of June, which I'm looking forward to. Can't wait to get to the Smoky Mountains. We'll get there probably about 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow, because we'll be heading out right after church tomorrow morning or afternoon, right after church tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. So I was debating if I wanted to do a Brice's Beats in the mountains. And I was like, maybe yes, maybe not. But I decided I'm not going to take a break when I'm in the Smokies. I am going to do a Brice's Beats in the Smoky Mountains because last year, around this time, there was no such thing as Brice's Beats Music Info YouTube channel because when I did YouTube stuff just on, before it became Brice's Beats, it was just Brice Fonville, which is me. I was just posting videos of what we did on our trip and all that, but I think since I've been doing Brice's Beats for so long, I think I'm going to do one in the Smoky Mountains. This will be my first time because last year it was just posting videos of what we ate or we did. I posted some videos of us golfing and mini golf at on the mountain golf. But this year, I think this coming vacation, which I'm already on my summer vacation right now. It started after I got off work yesterday, but next weekend, Brice's Beach will not be taking a break. I will be doing a Brice's Beach and Smoky Mountains come next week. I'll probably do it in the hotel room or outside on our porch at our hotel at Jack Huff's Motor Lodge in Smoky Mountains. But next weekend's discussion in Brice's Beach, which I'll be on vacation, but I'll be doing it in the Smoky Mountains, a totally different location. So this coming next Saturday, I'll be doing a Brice's Beach discussion. Since we're in the Smoky Mountains and there's a lot of, greatness of just, folk music and lore, I think next week what are we going to talk about next week? We're going to talk about a really good folk singer that he was kind of a folk rock singer, but he was really good. Next weekend, Brice's Beats will be going live next weekend to discuss next Saturday in Smoky Mountains. We're going to be discussing my favorite kind of Americana folk singer from the Americana music era of folk music. We are going to be talking about a really good folk singer from the 70s music era. I'm not going to tell you this, but I bet you're going to guess. But look forward to that next coming weekend, Saturday in the Smokies, for me going live in Brice's Beach, talking about one of my favorite 70s folk singers. Since we're going to be in the mountains, a lot of folk music came from the Smoky Mountains and the mountain areas of the states. So we're going to be talking about one of my favorite 70s folk singers. I'm not going to tell you that. That's going to be a surprise for you to figure out. Thank y'all for tuning in today for Brice's Beach Def Leppard edition. Next weekend, I'll be in Smoky Mountains going live this coming next Saturday to talk about one of my favorite 70s folk singers. I'll see y'all next weekend for Brice's Beats Smoky Mountain edition, talking about one of my favorite folk singers. I've enjoyed my summer vacation so far last night and today, but I can't wait to head to the Smoky Mountains tomorrow after church. I'll see y'all next weekend, the Smoky Mountains, talking about 70s folk singer. Thank y'all for tuning in every Saturday. Thank y'all from the bottom of my heart. I'll see y'all next weekend. Bye-bye. Hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. Bye-bye.